Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Well, it appears as though things have gone supernatural on this channel. God is amazing, and He's gifted us with eyes to see. Now, we're going to cover a lot of things today. First, apparently my cabin is very interesting to the military. Now, just so you know, I live nowhere close to any known military bases. Now, I've heard rumors from some of my friends and people in the area that tell me there's a secret base kind of near here, but it's off the books. Look what I caught on my GoPro. Now, this was the second time this happened. The first time there was a pair of Chinook helicopters that literally flew right over my house within yards of the top of the tree line. Very low flying, was very loud. It rocked the whole entire house. This is the second time I heard the roar building. I grabbed my GoPro, I ran outside, and this is what I caught. Chinook helicopters. Look at that. Military. Flying pretty low. Chinook helicopters. Look at that. Military. Chinook helicopters. Look at that. Military. Flying pretty low. Now this is the second time they flew over. They flew over actually before, but I missed it. But I can hear the rumble, and so thought I'd catch it for you guys. Now, I don't live in fear, but this is very peculiar, isn't it? It's the first time after you guys have been on the channel with me, you've seen the updates, and this is the first time this has happened. And gosh, I've owned this property for 4 years. I've been on this property back and forth and living here permanently for the last year, and was here frequently the year before that. So now I have more updates at the end of the show today, more updates on the Honey Milk Ranch, so we can end on a positive note, give you guys some updates on what's going on. But I wanted to show you that footage, and now I'm going to get you up to speed on what's been going on if you're just tuning in. Last week, the Thacker Pass lithium mine was revealed to us, was it not? As a result of research on Burning Man, Maui, and several movies that seem to point to a volcano cult called Tlaloc. For those of you on the channel, you saw it with your own eyes. You saw us play the video of the man who was camped out at Thacker Pass, and we did a decode on Joe versus the Volcano. Lo and behold, just yesterday on September 11th, after all that stuff we talked about, they just broke this mainstream news admitting that the largest lithium deposit in the world is at Thacker Pass. Now, just to give you an update on all this, the mine is currently being built as we speak. The man we showed you in the video has been kicked out, and he's being sued by the company. And the people building the mine are owned by China. This is tantamount to like the largest oil discovery ever discovered. This is a big deal. Now, we found Thacker Pass. How did we find Thacker Pass? How did we start talking about this? Well, we were looking upstream from Burning Man. We realized that Burning Man sits in the Thacker Pass lava field. Now, I don't know if it's lava or dust or whatever, but we tracked it back in Google Earth. We showed you the elevation change through the valleys, which interestingly enough zigzag, just like the lightning bolt that we discovered as well. So the path from Thacker Pass to Burning Man is a zigzag of declining elevation all the way to the Burning Man site, which suggests that dust goes downhill, doesn't it? As well as lava. So, likely, some of the contents of this former volcano are in Burning Man in the playa. Now, when we were reporting on this and decoding the film Joe versus the Volcano and talking about this man that was camped out at Thacker Pass, it was nowhere to be seen in the mainstream news. It wasn't until 9/11 that they broke this story, as you can see on your screen. As I said, things are starting to go supernatural on this channel. And all the glory goes to the Most High, not us. He's done this before, but not to this degree. He's revealed things to us that we were talking about before they hit the mainstream many times before on this channel. But this is a big deal because this is the future of the path of America and the world, the electric kingdom. Lithium is the single most important element in the production of batteries for all things electric. So, what is going on? Well, we're going to read this, but understand the importance of this and how we got here, how we found this. The Burning Man sits in the shadow of this field. This is also known, if you want to look it up a different way, this is also known as the McDermott Caldera, spelled M-C-D-E-R-M-I-T-T, the McDermott Caldera. It's an ancient volcano, and it holds enough lithium to power the entire electric kingdom. Now, on an occult level, what seems to be going on here is that the elite made their sacrifice to Tlaloc, probably Maui, because Tlaloc requires child sacrifice, doesn't he? And the controllers rewarded them, or the devil rewarded the controllers with the fuel of the future, lithium, for their electric kingdom. Now, there's other stories of child sacrifice we're going to get into today, too. An evil witch named Baba Yaga, which one of you sent me information on, is in close proximity to this, the playa of Burning Man. Now, what else is going on? Well, America will look like China. The fact that this is owned by China, or let's say they have the most shares in the company, tells us what the future of America will look like, and they're doing this in plain sight, right under everyone's noses. We're pretending to be in competition with China and hate China, but really, we're actually going to be China. And no politician is telling you that, on the right or the left. Let me check in with you guys, and we'll get in deeper into this investigation today. We're going to read the story. Breaking news. They're now admitting the largest lithium discovery in the world. Let's take a look. A deposit of lithium recently discovered along the Nevada-Oregon border may be among the world's largest, having potentially huge implications for the transition to electric vehicles. This is huge. This is the fulcrum of the future. In other words, this will fast track us away from gasoline and natural gas. In other words, the gas vehicle you're driving now will no longer exist in 3 to 5 years. Volcanologists and geologists from Lithium Amerigas Corporation, GNS Science, and Oregon State University reported their findings in a paper published August 31st. The deposit exists in the McDermott Caldera, 28 miles long, 22 miles wide, 20 to 40 million metric tons of lithium. It dwarfs the deposits in Chile and Australia. Belgian geologists told Chemistry World that the findings could change the dynamics of lithium globally in terms of price, security of supply, and geopolitics. The geology appears promising, but cautioned that there hasn't been significant prospecting in the area worthy of exploration, and on and on. Lithium for EV batteries. They're racing to lock in supplies. Any shortfall in lithium would disrupt plans to ramp up sales to tens of millions of EVs a year. The race for lithium has also fueled political conflict, particularly with China, and complaints about the environment cost of extracting them. So, notice they're trying to divide this into the right-left paradigm again. What they're not telling you is that the lithium mine is owned by China. Globally, lithium output is on track to triple over the next decade, but demand for electric SUVs, sports cars, and sedans threatens to exceed supply. Each battery requires 17 pounds of lithium. There's your cue. 17. Quetzalcoatl, the plumed serpent. Now, what else is going on? Well, remember our investigation into the movie Joe Versus the Volcano, and it led us to the coordinates of a remote island called Caroline. And we talked yesterday about a team of researchers in the 1800s that went to the island of Caroline in the South Pacific to watch an eclipse. And during the eclipse, they were looking for the planet Vulcan, which is not a real planet, so we're told, but a hypothetical planet, the closest planet to the sun, even closer than Mercury. Well, I had an epiphany yesterday that the word Vulcan is the root word for the word volcano. And that's why the writers of Joe Versus the Volcano picked that GPS coordinate to add to the script of the movie, because it's about the volcano. Vulcan, volcano. And in fact, in Spanish, the word volcano is volcán. Here is Vulcan, seen from Mount Tlaloc, the god of child sacrifice. Yes, Mount Tlaloc sits in the shadow of Vulcan, Vulcanizquatl, which is another mountain nearby, a dormant volcano. But did you also know that the Romans worshipped Vulcan? Here it is right here. Now this blew me away. This is the ancient myth of Vulcan. And there is such an event called Vulcanalia. And guess what? Vulcanalia started on August 23rd, and guess when it ended? This is when Burning Man started on August 27th, and look at when Vulcanalia ends. August 27th. You can't make this up. You can't stretch it. The Vulcanalia was part of the cycle of 4 festivities of the second half of August. Consualia on August 21st, Vulcanalia on the 23rd, Apiconsivia on the 25th, and Vulturnalia on the 27th. And I'm wondering if this is where the 4 pictures of Tlaloc were linked to. Because remember, Tlaloc had 4 pictures. And it appears as though Vulcanalia is part of a 4-part cycle. The last one ending on the very day of August that Burning Man began. This can't be a coincidence. Now, what is this about? Well, look at this. Vulcanalia, which was part of Vulcanalia, was dedicated to the god of waters, the god of fountains, which relates directly back to the water event that happened at Burning Man. And during the festival of Vulcanalia, bonfires were burned in honor of the god. And they would sacrifice small animals or live fish. And they did this in the place of humans, so that humans would not have to be sacrificed. Now you have to ask yourself, is there a link between Vulcanalia and Tlaloc? Well, ancient Roman mythology says Vulcan made the lightning bolts of Jupiter. Remember, Tlaloc wielded a lightning bolt wand. Now, one of you sent me this. I couldn't believe it. This is the Fly Geyser, just outside of the Burning Man playa. And it sits on Fly Ranch, which is now owned by Burning Man. Literally, this is just up in the hills above the playa. You can see it from Burning Man. The Fly Geyser. Now this place is supernatural. Look at these formations. Now how did this thing form? Well, according to the story, miners were digging for hot water, apparently. And they didn't find what they were looking for, so they capped the mine, pipe in the ground. But then the water burst through and formed these formations. One of them is called the Wizard. The other one is called the Fly Geyser. And they're both in close proximity to each other. You can look up these sites on Google Earth. But here's what caught my eye. Let me check in with you guys. Good morning. Here's what caught my eye. And you're not even going to believe what I'm about to tell you. This house that you're looking at right here sits at Fly Ranch near Fly Geyser. It is called the Baba Yaga house. It is a house with chicken legs underneath it. And the myth behind Baba Yaga is that she is a witch that eats children. This is literally sitting within sight of the playa of Burning Man. Now I looked up Baba Yaga, and Baba Yaga is an Eastern European Russian myth about an old witch who lives in a house with chicken legs. Here's the Wikipedia article right here. She literally kidnaps and eats children. Her name means Old Woman Serpent. And just like Vulcan, the ancient Vulcan myths, she is related to Jupiter. So, we now have a definitive missing children aspect to Burning Man that links it to the missing children of Maui. We have continuity there, do we not? Look at this. Here's some video of this bizarre place.
Place where originally the people lived that owned the Fly Ranch. It's 3,800 acres. Wow. And the Burning Man people bought it.
So there you heard this guy. He's cruising around out here to the Fly Geyser. He just told us that Burning Man bought Fly Ranch.
So that's why I'm sure this ship is here and a school bus and this art. You'll probably see a lot of interesting things.
I believe this tree here is made out of bones. And this is Baba Yaga stealing the children. Let's keep listening.
One piece of art from Burning Man was the Baba Yaga house. Baba Yaga is a Slavic folk tale of a witch that lives in the woods and travels around in a house with...
I'm going to pause this frequently because I'm not sure about the copyright. I wish I could find the exact location of this house to see the alignment of the house and where it points. Because if it's pointed in the direction of Maui, then I'm just going to fall out of my chair. Remember, we looked at the temple at the top of Mount Tlaloc, and it pointed directly to Lahaina. It was aligned directly to it. So if anyone knows the GPS coordinates of this house, we need to find it on Google Earth so I can draw a line and align the side of the building and see where it points.
With chicken feet, she would take children, and based on whether they told lies or not, she would either help them or cook them and eat them.
What the heck did he just say? Are you understanding there's a volcano cult now?
It was certainly a fairy tale used to be able to keep children under control. It was really cool to see, as well as the rest of the ranch. Very wild, very peaceful out there.
Now, I will put a link to this video. It's a very interesting video and gives you an idea of what is going on at Burning Man and the surrounding areas and some of the lore behind this stuff that links directly into the Tlaloc cult. Now, the interesting thing about this guy's journey is he was told he was not allowed to turn his camera on until he got to the geyser. This is the geyser here. Could probably play a few seconds of this. The Book of Enoch says that when the sulfur of the earth is where the demons are, and that when these springs go cold, then that means that the spirits that are down in the earth will be brought out and brought to justice and judgment. So that will be a sign of the end times, that when hot springs begin to get cold, that means the spirits have been released for judgment, and that means it is the end. So we'll be watching places like Fly Geyser. Let me check in with you guys. And we need to pray against the Thacker Pass mine. Now, we know that God's will be done in all this, won't it? And we also know that it's a very big possibility that Thacker Pass could continue to be developed. The mine could be built because this might be an essential part of the end times. But it doesn't hurt to pray against it. I've learned in my personal life to pray for God's will to be done and to trust Him to navigate us through these times. I kind of stopped praying for things. There's one thing I've been praying for lately, but I don't even know if He would allow me to have that. Because maybe it's not in His will, and I have to be ready to accept that, if that is the case. Feels like I'm hitting my head against a wall over the past year or two with this one thing that I've been praying for. It's almost as if the devil's just laughing at me. And so I have to be prepared to accept that maybe God doesn't want that to happen for me. Now I want to end the show on a positive note, give you guys an update on the Honey Milk Ranch. This is my bedroom. They've got the ceiling in, the lights. They still got some trim work to do. Let's play this. Hey guys, it's been a while since showing you anything. Scott will be back. He's gonna, finish up the trim on these windows throughout. I don't have enough red oak to do the whole house, but I'm just gonna do what I can. I'll probably do this window, and then my son has a window just like this in his room, and I'll encase his window in the red oak too, and that way we'll have two kind of matching windows, one in each bedroom. This closet's all done. This looks spectacular. I put tung oil on it, and I went to go order some more tung oil, and it's like super expensive, so I'm probably gonna just skip that. But there you can see just the beauty of that red oak. It's just unbelievable. Now let's get into other things. There's some new stuff to show you guys on the Honey Milk Ranch. Let's see here. So here's the rest of the red oak with tung oil on it, and that'll go in the trim, and we'll have enough to do Max's window, and that's about it. Now I did order another one of these barrels, these rain barrels. I like this one so much. So this is the Vevor 100 gallon rain barrel, and I put it on a platform, as you can see, and I ordered a second one. These are like $52 or $53 on the Vevor website. Don't buy it on Amazon because you won't get the deal. On Amazon you're going to pay like $80 for it, but if you go to vevor.com you can get this rain barrel. It's 100 gallons, and I built a second platform for the second one so this one will spill over into it. That ordered another one, $50 at vevor.com, but you have to register first and then you'll get the $50 rain barrel. This is probably one of the best investments I ever made, because when I tried to water my lawn 3 or 4 months ago, my water bill almost doubled. It went from $50 to $100. So in 1 month I could have literally used rainwater to water this lawn and I would have been fine. So 1 month investment, that's pretty good. So I came out here and I built this platform for a second barrel. Hopefully it's low enough. You know, otherwise I don't know what I'm going to do. I also bought an electric pump that I can attach to these barrels to pump the water. That way I can utilize this drip hose, because this drip hose needs some pressure. And also I can get my watering of all of my fruit trees done more efficiently, rather than just letting it kind of drip overnight and not being able to have as much control. So I'll be able to do more rapid watering with the drip system that comes out of that hose to the right. Hose on the left is drip for the lawn, hose on the right is drip for the garden. Once I get my garden all done up, then I'm going to have all kinds of... So here's the raised beds back here. You can see them off the distance. Reasons to have water pumped over there, right? I could just put the drip system, drop it right inside of the right inside those beds. So I'm really excited about all this. You know, there are hummingbirds everywhere. They show up at the feeder, which is awesome. And now I've got birds over there at the seed feeder over here for regular birds, hummingbirds over there, regular birds over here. I did see a couple of really pesky squirrels actually figure out how to get seeds out of there, but no big deal, whatever. So here are the two seed feeders hanging from the tree, and the squirrels were literally doing like, it looked like Mission Impossible. It looked like they were Tom Cruise, like going down the branch and shaking the seeds out, and then they run down and like pick them up. I was like laughing so hard I almost peed my pants. You can have some too. What else is going on the Honey Milk Ranch? Oh, so I've got some trees that need to get removed, and I really hate to do this, but all it takes is one of these trees to get struck by lightning, and that tree right there will fall right on my house, and then you're talking $2,000 deductible and rebuild the entire house. I don't want to go there. So that tree's coming down. It already did damage to my roof, as I showed you guys. Big log came off and smashed onto here. Luckily it wasn't any permanent damage, but there you can see the damage right there. Bam. Now, it's nothing I can't fix. I can obviously come up here. There you can see it bowed out there. Pretty big log came off of that tree, and it just banged that. So I could put another screw in there and you won't even know it was there. But that's what we're dealing with. Each one of those weighs, some of those weigh 1,000 pounds. Falls on the house, it's game over, man. So got a tree guy coming out. He's going to take this tree. He's going to also take, not that one, because that one's good to go. It's leaning the right direction, right? So that's fine. And look at those kudzu vines. I cut them at the source,
No more kudzu, but the remnants of it are up there.
So here you can see it kind of wrapped around. It's like a serpent wrapped around a pole. These kudzu vines are just, they were everywhere. They're near my property, but I think I cut most of them out of my property.
And then I'm gonna cut this tree right here. Now he's got a truck with a bucket on it he's gonna bring out. And you can see how this one is leaning really bad. The wind could hit it the wrong way. It could fall right on the house. Game over, man. They call them widowmakers for a reason. This one's coming down, and one more. And this one you can really see how it's leaning up and over, and it could fall right on the house. I'm surprised I didn't see these earlier, but I think they actually started leaning a little bit more since this year we got a lot of rain. So those three got to come out. He's going to chunk them down and stack them as firewood. Look how that one looks like it's going to fall down, but that's not a threat. So we'll leave that one back there in.
So yeah, so these trees, no bueno. Like, you don't have to worry about this. I mean, if you've ever lived here and you look outside during one of those storms, like the summer storms or spring storms, you can literally see the trees. Now, these are oak trees. They weigh thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds. Like, even a 4x4 post, like 3 or 4 feet long, you can barely pick up. It weighs 200 or 300 pounds. And so when you see these trees swaying back and forth, it's a little bit unnerving when they're close to your house, right?
A lot of work done over here. I got my lumber pile organized, got my rain gutter metal, I got my plumbing tubing, I got my roofing and wood over there. And look at that tree, how angled it is. But again, that's not a threat. So it'll fall right on the lawn, no big deal. But the thing is they say if a tree's not a threat to your house, you should leave it because it's a habitat for woodpeckers and everything else, right? They come and use it as a home, owls and things like this. I got the deck cleaned out from underneath. It looks way better now. There's all kinds of frogs, and I've got a million frogs over here. Keep the insect population down. I haven't seen any snakes lately, but this is what's going on. What else is going on? Well, see, this tree right here is not a threat. I'm not really worried about that tree. Why? Because even if it fell, it's going to fall that way. It's going to miss the house. That could be a close one, but I'm not worried about it. I'm not going to just remove all the trees on the property, but those need to get removed. All right, what else is going on? Well, getting some organization done over here. I've got these bins, getting things kind of organized. That way I can see what's here, just slowly but surely. Here's another idea. That's a shoe rack, and I've got all my lawn equipment just stacked there. You know, that's a great idea for it. And I've got it just held up with straps. You don't have to spend a lot of money to get organized in life. And what else? Oh, I have a little friend. First of all, that is a brand new air conditioner window unit. So I haven't had a need for it yet, but I guess I'll hang on to it. And that is a pretty brand new mini fridge. So it's just going to sit here till it finds a home, or I find a home for it. Anyway, Houston, I had a problem. I went to start my mower the other day. Guess what? Wouldn't start. Guess what the problem was? A rat climbed in there and ate one of my wires. Took me about 12 hours to figure it out. I was going insane. I was like, my lawn's getting big. What am I going to do? I almost took it to the shop. That would have been $200, $300, $400. God said, take a deep breath, Casey. You want to be a homesteader? Let me show you how to do it. Let me show you what it means to be a homesteader. I mean, sometimes you got to figure things out by yourself, on your own. And you got to do that because there's not always going to be somebody around to help you fix things. And I just took a deep breath and I said, okay, God, let's figure this out together. And he's like, okay, just start pulling panels off. I started pulling panels off. He's like, obviously it started when you parked it. Something changed. Probably a rodent. I looked around, there was rodent droppings everywhere. And I was like, big rodent droppings, like a pack rat. And I was like, are you kidding me? A pack rat took off with one of my wires and like packed it somewhere? Probably.
Now I'm going to interrupt myself here because I have a confession to make, and this is why I no longer will be using sticky traps in the garage. Now, maybe once the garage gets framed in, I'll put sticky traps in, but unfortunately, a large chipmunk got stuck in a sticky trap. Now, I was able to free the chipmunk, and he ran off. He was covered in olive oil. And if you have sticky traps and something gets in there that you don't necessarily want to die, then you can actually pour olive oil, and it releases the stickiness of the sticky trap. This thing was massive. It was the size of the sticky trap. I've never seen a chipmunk that big in my life. So he got away. He was a little angry. He was trying to bite me while I was trying to pour the oil on him and push him off with a stick. But he got away. He's covered in oil. So now I have like an anointed chipmunk. He's been anointed with olive oil. And he's running around. I don't know how they're going to get that olive oil off of him. But, you know, worse things could have happened to this poor chipmunk, right? So, but you realize the frustration of this, because you have an open garage, you got wires, and rodents crawl into these places, and they'll bite the wires out of everything. It could cost thousands and thousands of dollars of damage. And I know there are tricks, and I've tried every one. I've tried pouring cayenne pepper. I've tried spraying peppermint oil. I've tried all those things. It does not seem to deter them. The overwhelming need to build a nest overrides any deterrence that you might put into place. So let's keep watching here.
Probably somewhere close by here. He's probably laughing at me right now. And finally, I found the broken wire. Spliced it together, put everything back together, and it started right up. So God is good, isn't he? So that's pretty much the update. When the guys come to bring the truck in to take these trees, they're going to back the truck right in through here. They're going to do that tree first, stack it over there. Then they're going to back it up here. It's got a bucket on it, and he'll bucket up and piece that tree down, put it in the woods, and then try to back up and piece that one behind it down, piece it in the woods. Now, what else is going on? Well, let's see. I know there's something else to tell you guys about. I just can't think of it right now off the top of my head. That's what I was going to say. So, propane. Let's talk about propane. I signed up for AmeriGas. AmeriGas filled this tank halfway when they installed it. AmeriGas wants $3.21 a gallon. So what did I do? Called Scott's. Guess what Scott's told me? Our propane, it never goes over $1.85 a gallon. You guys, that's like 50% savings. They said they'll come. Well, I can't tell you what they said they were going to do. But anyway, long story short, I'm going to get this tank replaced. There are no hidden fees. They don't charge certain fees. And essentially, I'm going to get this tank filled up for much less than I was going to. So when you go to buy propane, make sure you shop around. My neighbors did tell me to get Scott's a long time ago, and I didn't listen because I didn't think there was a huge difference in price between the propane companies, but apparently there is. $1.85 per gallon or $3.21 per gallon. What do you want to pay? And I even called AmeriGas, and I pretty much like threatened to quit, and they didn't care. They're like, oh, sorry, you can prepay if you want. We'll give you $3.20 a gallon, like save a couple cents. I'm like, I'm going to call around. So goodbye AmeriGas, and I hope you fix your problem because you're losing lots of customers. And finally, I'm so excited to show you guys this. Enter the Gnat Zapper. This thing is awesome. And I put it in the bathroom because this is where the moisture is, and oftentimes these things are attracted to moisture. Now we can take it back to the bedroom because it's probably done its job. Let's see here. Now, what I like to do, now I don't have affiliate links and all that. I'm not saying I'll never do that one day, but you know, I'm not on here to sell you guys stuff. I'm here to give you hacks about life, right? I like to stick it right there Rottler. There's my hillbilly coming out. And for some reason, the gnats like this window, and you'll just hear it popping off. That way it's not in your ear. It's not, because it can startle you when this thing goes off. It's pretty loud, you know, it's like, so there's a little tech tip. So happy to give you guys the update. Got the lawn mowed, and I need to get this garage framed in so I don't have rodent issues, because they can climb up into my truck. Then all of a sudden I would have truck issues, and I need my transportation to get in back and forth to town, right? So that's the story. Love you guys. Take care.
So there's the update on the Ozark Honey Milk Ranch. Let's go back into the chat, see what you guys are up to. Let's chat catch up. Kind of all over the place on today's show, but I wanted to get you guys caught up on everything. I think tomorrow is going to be a re-upload from Joseph Mengele and his twin studies that he did down in South America. And the movie, what was the movie called? The Boys of Brazil. And there's a scene in there where Joseph Mengele actually injects blue into the eyes of the children. He turns their eyes blue, which is kind of a phenomenon that is happening right now with some treatments, some COVID treatments. Children's eyes are turning from brown to blue. So I thought that it would be appropriate to re-upload that video. I have not seen that video in many years, but we'll all watch it together on a premiere tomorrow. All right, I'm in the chat. You guys want me to do any polls or anything? Those are kind of fun. You hear about new DSA, think it's a law passing EU going to affect us here, and what can be and what can be on YouTube. Yeah, they're always coming up with new rules about what we can and can't do on YouTube. We're going to have to basically speak completely in code at some point. Yeah, the helicopters. I mean, look. Yeah, I'm suspicious and a bit paranoid. Is it directly related to what I'm doing here? Probably not, if I have to be honest with myself. But it is peculiar, the timing. And it could be a spiritual manifestation as well that the pilots don't even know about. Maybe they're just told to fly that route, right? But it's just weird, you know. Chinook helicopters flying at such low altitude right over my house. Very weird. Who's Cheyenne? Hey, should I marry Cheyenne? I don't know who Cheyenne is. Am I going to paint my roof blue? No, won't be doing that. I live in a brown house, and my name is Casey Brown. That's kind of interesting. All right. If they got to your lawnmower there, I've already been in your truck. Yes, and believe it or not, you're absolutely right. Because when I looked under my hood, probably a couple months ago, one of the they had literally drug one of those poison pellets up into the compartment of my truck and were eating it. They're like a pack rat had gone in there, put it up in there, and was like storing and eating it. So you saw like the pellet, not a pellet, it's like a bar, it's like a green cube, and then you saw like the rat droppings next to it. I was so angry. I wanted to go like full on Braveheart on these freaking rodents. But then the sticky traps don't work because, you know, they hurt other wildlife. You don't want to hurt other wildlife. One time there were 2 birds stuck in it. I got them out with olive oil too. Luckily a neighbor is here and he's like, go get some olive oil. And we got it. Then we released the birds. They were covered in olive oil. I was like, I can't do sticky traps anymore. They're just not ethical. But what do? And then I was like, okay, I'll just use the poison blocks. But then other animals get the poison blocks, like animals that you don't want to kill, like possums. Possums eat ticks. You don't want to kill possums. So, you know, there you go. Rats. Now I know rats have a purpose. But, you know, part of it's my fault because I haven't enclosed the garage yet. You keep the pests out of the places that you want to keep them out of. And it's kind of the responsibility of the homeowner to do that. It's an open air garage, so of course things are going to try to find their way in there, right? But it's almost like they're attracted to it. It's like they're drawn to it. And that's the frustration of it. You know, I can understand one or two like showing up, running through there, but it's like, geez, it's like, you know, it's like a daily battle. I don't know what I'm going to see when I flip on my porch light. Remember last year we had the snakes. Remember the snakes were in the garage? There's a snake underneath a lot of the stuff that I had stored out there. They were just like cruising through. A hognose snake cruised right on through. So, interesting, right? All right, what else is going on? Yeah, I need a little color in this house. I'm trying, you guys. I did fix up my couch, my homemade couch that I made with like a mustard color. I think it looks really well. It's like an umber color. So yeah, and then I've got green plants on the porch, the spider plants. They're actually doing really well. Probably got to bring them in soon as the weather starts to cool off. Probably bring in those spider plants. But now I'm horrified because the soil breeds gnats, right? That's what it does. Soil breeds gnats. Joanne asks $100 a month for water. Well, it starts at $50 a month and you get, I think it's 1,000 gallons free for $50 a month, which is a deal. But then if you go over that, you know, you're paying overages. So when I was trying to get this lawn established, I was watering it probably every couple days, and we went through a dry spell, and that's when my water bill doubled. So it's not going to be that way all the time, just a few months out of the summer. So, yeah. I do have a cold water spring at the bottom, but I don't know how I'm going to be able to get that up the hill because it's like literally 100-foot elevation drop and it's 200 yards away. So it's a ways off. And I've heard of different pumps, but they're not going to be able to pump it up that high unless I get like a real pump, like a good pump to pump that water up the hill. But there is a cold water spring down there, which I was really is a pleasant surprise. Wasn't expecting that. And I was like, that is so cool. I have a cold water spring on my property in case of, an emergency. Just build a little dwelling down there and camp out down there. So, why not decorate the house? Yeah. I want to get like the essentials in place first. Like I still need a kitchen sink and cabinets. I went on to Ikea. I put together a cabinet. Oh, here, let me show you my kitchen. Let's see here. I'll show you what I'm doing here. Okay. Gosh, you guys are getting a snapshot view of everything today. So, you go on Ikea. Now, I don't know about Ikea. I know Max is a huge fan of Ikea. We bought like his desk from Ikea. But that's when I lived in Connecticut. So we just went to the Ikea store and we were able to get him his things. And the prices were very reasonable. I was like shocked. But anyway, so I had the idea. I don't want to spend a fortune on countertops and all this stuff. And so I was like, maybe I'll go on and see what Ikea has going on. I don't mind building stuff and putting stuff together because I have a really tiny kitchen, as you can see. So you go on Ikea and you can actually build your own kitchen. So this is what I did. I built this essentially. Let's see here. And this is what my kitchen looks like. As you can see, there's my refrigerator. And there's my chest freezer right here. Refrigerator, chest freezer. There's my stove. What's missing is these cabinets. So I pieced them all together. I put in the cabinets. Simple kitchen, right? This is going to be my bar area down here. Where like you can sit with bar stools under here. Watch me cook. And the window is right here, right? So I pieced this kitchen together. So essentially all it is these two top cabinets, this small unit cabinet, and the sink and these cabinets. And it was $3,500 is how much they want for that setup. Now, I don't know if Ikea actually, if it comes assembled or you have to assemble it yourself when you're doing a kitchen, but this will likely be probably my kitchen at some point. I got a lot of saving to do to get to that point, but this will likely be my kitchen. But see, there's a lot of little stuff that still has to happen, and I'm fine with it, you know. But if I were ever to live with someone, I would need to have all this done so it's like a real house, you know. Max was a little irritated that he had to wash his dishes in the bathtub, but hey, you do what you got to do until you don't have to do it anymore, right? You do not have a large freezer. Actually, I have a chest freezer. You could see it in the corner there. I actually have it unconnected right now, but it's deer season, so I hope to take a deer this year and fill it up with deer meat for the year. Get some nice organic meat that's healthy for me. Yeah, it is a real house. It's just not all the way finished yet. Joe Biden had a meeting with the cabinet yesterday. Speaking of cabinets, says Yabba Dabba. Yeah, winter quilts. Thanks, Cheyenne. Yeah, I've got these mini splits that are actually heating and air. And I remember last winter when I turned them on, it wasn't bad. So it'll be fine. It should be fine. Try transplanting your houseplants, changing fresh soil before bringing them inside to avoid gnats. Ooh, that's a great idea. The problem is the gnats are already in here because there's always one or two that get away, right? As good as this gnat zapper is, this looks like a tennis racket. As good as it is, there's always one or two that get away. And then where do they go? They go right to the soil. So they'll just rebreed. So I'll just wait. If I see them start to die, then I'll bring them in. Or maybe I could put them in the garage. That's a good idea, right? Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll put them in the garage. Not that I have the room, but maybe I can build some shelves. So, yeah, the fireplaces. Yeah, their fireplaces are going extinct. Crystal. Absolutely. The world order doesn't want you to have a fireplace. They want you to pay for electricity to heat your home. That's where everything's headed. It's a travesty what's happening, and it's right under everyone's noses, and they're doing it under the guise of climate change. They've literally convinced everyone if we don't do these things that we are going to burn up. Literally. And they literally want us to believe that it's because of what we're doing. It's causing the earth to warm up. And people believe this stuff. So, the Russian guy called John Wick Baby Yaga, Baba Yaga. Oh, wow, John Black. I wonder if there's any connections to, because it's Eastern European and Russian. I wonder if there's any connections to Melania Trump. I'll probably do a search after this. Not that I expect to find anything, but hey, I've been surprised before. Things that you think are completely unrelated end up being related. So I'm going to pop off of here and continue to do more research. I'll see you guys tomorrow at the premiere. I love each and every one of you. Have a great rest of your day. Take care and be safe.